The mud was still wet when it hit the marble floor. I was standing in our apartment doorway in Chicago, watching it drip off her heels. Dark, gritty, unmistakable. Not the kind you get from sidewalks or parking lots. This was thick, almost clay-like. And she froze when she saw me. "You're home early," she said, too quickly, kicking her shoes off like that would erase it. I didn't move, didn't blink. "You said you never left the office tonight," I replied, my voice low, controlled. She smiled. That same practice smile. I didn't. I looked down at the trail of mud leading into our living room. That's when it hit me. Something wasn't right. And for the first time in 8 years of marriage, I knew she was lying. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel, tell us where you're from, and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. Her name was Rachel. Corporate strategist. Late nights. Client dinners. Always composed. Always in control. I was the opposite. Predictable. Loyal. The kind of man who believed consistency meant security. But that night, the mud changed everything. Chicago hadn't seen rain in 3 days. The streets were dry. Clean. I checked. Twice. So where did it come from? I didn't ask again. Not yet. Instead, I watched. The next morning, she left early. Same heels. Clean this time. Same kiss on the cheek. Same perfume. Same lie waiting to be uncovered. That unease settled into my chest like a slow infection. Every word she spoke started sounding rehearsed. Every glance, calculated. And every night she came home late, I stared at her shoes first. Nothing. Until Thursday. Another pair. Another smear. This time on the edge of her soul. She saw me looking. "You're acting weird," she said. "Just tired," I answered. But inside, something was building. I didn't check her phone. That would have been too easy. Too obvious. Instead, I used something quieter. Her car. I installed a GPS tracker under the chassis the next morning. Small. Magnetic. Invisible unless you knew exactly where to look. And that night, I waited. 8:12 p.m., she left the office. 8:27 p.m., not heading home. 8:41 p.m., she pulled into an industrial area near the Chicago River. No offices. No restaurants. Just warehouses. And mud. My stomach dropped. I grabbed my keys. The place smelled like rust and damp concrete. Streetlights flickered. Puddles covered the broken pavement. I parked 2 blocks away. Walked. Every step felt louder than it should. And then I saw her car. Parked outside an old loading dock. Lights off. Engine cold. But she was there. I knew it. I moved closer, staying in the shadows. And that's when I heard it. Laughter. A man's voice. Confident. Mocking. "Your husband really thinks you're working late?" Her voice followed. Soft. Amused. "He doesn't think anything." That sentence broke something in me. I stepped closer. The door was slightly open. Inside, dim lights. A makeshift office space. And there they were. Rachel. And her boss. Daniel. Suit jacket off. Sleeves rolled. Smirking like he owned everything, including her. I didn't walk in. I didn't shout. I just stood there, listening. "That idiot has no idea," Daniel said, laughing. "You've got him completely under control." She leaned back against the desk. Calm. Unbothered. "He's predictable. That's his only flaw." Predictable. That word echoed in my head. I turned around. And left. The denial came fast. Maybe I misheard. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But deep down, I knew. The manipulation started the next day. "You've been distant," she said over breakfast. "I've just been thinking." "About what?" "Us." She smiled again. Soft this time. Reaching for my hand. "We're fine." No, we weren't. But I nodded anyway. Because now, I had a different plan. The emotional collapse didn't happen all at once. It came in waves. Late at night. Alone in the living room. Staring at the faint stain her muddy shoes had left on the rug. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just went quiet. That's when the transformation began. I contacted a divorce lawyer in downtown Chicago. Quietly. Efficiently. I gathered everything. Bank statements. Joint accounts. Her work emails, forwarded through a shared device she forgot about. And the GPS logs. Every visit to that warehouse. Every lie. Every step she thought I'd never trace. Then I dug deeper. Daniel wasn't just her boss. He was married. To someone very important. The plan came together slowly. Piece by piece. Like assembling a weapon. I invited Rachel to dinner the following Friday. A high-end place near the river. She dressed perfectly. Smiled perfectly. Played the role. Halfway through the meal, I slid an envelope across the table. "What's this?" she asked. "Open it." She did. Photos. GPS logs. Printed emails. Her smile faded. "You followed me. I trusted you," I said. Silence. Then anger. "You're invading my privacy. Save it." I stood up. Dinner's paid. And I walked out. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. The real destruction came 2 days later. At Daniel's house. I knocked on the door. His wife answered. Elegant. Composed. "I'm sorry to disturb you," I said. "But I think you should see this." I handed her the second envelope. She didn't say a word. Just took it. Closed the door. And that was enough. Rachel called me that night. Screaming. Crying. "How could you do this?" I didn't raise my voice. "You tracked mud into our home," I said calmly. "You just didn't realize it would lead me to the truth." She hung up. The aftermath was quiet. Divorce finalized in 3 months. She lost her job. Daniel disappeared from the company. Last I heard, his marriage didn't survive either. As for me, I stayed in the apartment for a while. Long enough to replace the rug. But sometimes, late at night, I'd still see it. That faint outline, where the mud first hit the floor. The moment everything changed. And I realized, it was never about the shoes. It was about the trail she thought I'd never follow. The end.